Ladies and gentlemen,
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. And for all my new subscribers, welcome. Welcome to joining us here. And don't forget, for those who may just be tapping in, to go ahead and subscribe if you find the content here worthy of your very free subscription. Anywho, I wanted to tap in on today and drop a positive note, just letting you know that you are exactly enough for the life that is yours to live. Now, on to today's topic, the movie Steven Spielberg Disclosure Day coming out. And I'm wondering, is it more or less a seed of deception? So some of you may be saying, what is she talking about? Well, let's get into it. For the past probably, I'd say maybe 5 to 6 years, I have been noticing a trend in film. Now, this is just me having a more or less coming into an analytical mind, kind of like a spiritual, not even kind of, a spiritual perception of movies versus just watching it for, entertainment purposes. I've been noticing that films are increasingly moving towards a anti-Christian basis or foundation, right? Or in a way, like trying to kill Christianity. Now, you can go back probably 100 years. You can probably say, oh, it started back in when they first started, doing film, what have you. But this is when I really, really started to notice watching movies. And I'm a big action, sci-fi, hero kind of film kind of girl, right? Every now and then a rom-com, a comedy, a horror flick, which is another topic for another day. But really, really into sci-fi, hero type, anything with aliens. Just, I love those kind of movies. I don't know why, I just do. Um, but what I've noticed over, this said period of time is that movies are moving into a killing of Christianity, not a killing of Hinduism or Catholicism or any other form of spiritual practice or belief. It's let's kill Christianity, let's get rid of God, let's get rid of Jesus Christ, if you will. Now, what do you mean by that? What movies are you talking about? Specifically, I'm going to talk about films that have that are of my genre, right? So we can go into Marvel, we can go into Disney films, obviously, a lot of films that have come out recently on Netflix. One of them specifically, I think, with who is in this movie? I know Kerry Washington is in it. It's The School for Evil and Evil or Good, or something to that nature. Maleficent, Thor. What really kind of sparked it for me was Batman versus Superman. Now, if you go back and watch Batman versus Superman, there is kind of a montage in the film towards probably 30 minutes in, maybe 30 to 45 minutes into the film. And they go into a speech about whether or not Superman should, exist on the planet, or is he some type of religious figure, or all these things. And really what they're hinting at and comparing him to is Jesus Christ. You see this theme again when you watch Thor: Love and Thunder. At the very beginning of the film, or towards the very beginning of the film, Christian Bale's character, and for the life of me, I can't recall his character's name at this time, but Christian Bale's character lands into some garden with the god there, and I can't remember the god's name either, but he was begging. His daughter had some type of terminal illness, and his daughter passed. Oh, I don't think it was terminal. I think she was dehydrated or something. Anyway, his daughter ends up passing in the beginning of the film, and he goes to this god that he finally makes it, pillages through the land, through this desert, and makes it into this beautiful scenic garden with fruits and vegetables and just, beautiful place, right? which to me in my mind, I'm liking it to heaven. And he's, begging and pleading with this God, for restoration of his daughter. And it didn't happen, obviously, and there's a serpent in the garden that comes and tells him, more or less, hey, he doesn't care. He's in here eating, the finest pineapples and grapes, and, you got to kill him. This God doesn't care. And I remember going to the theater and seeing that film and thinking, I wanted to walk out because I knew what they were referencing to. This is what is planting a seed of deception is all about. So what they're aiming to do is use your pain as a tool of manipulation. And what I mean is, for example, in this particular film, Thor: Love and Thunder, Christian Bale's character has experienced a traumatic loss. Of course, the loss of a child is excruciating, just unbearable pain. And he would do anything, to bring her back, to have his daughter, have her life again. And to him, begging this God in the garden, and for that wish to be rejected, here comes that serpent, just kill him, he doesn't care, just kill him, and that's exactly what he does. And this is how seeds of deception are planted. So for someone who is either going through any type of traumatic experience, or it can just kind of be, teetering, tottering, not sure about their faith or unsure about choosing a faith or at any type of crossroads, that's just opening the door to, hey, maybe I shouldn't. Hey, maybe this isn't going to work. Hey, maybe, people always say, well, if there's a God, why is there cancer? Why are there wars? Why do children die? Why basically is there pain in the earth if there's this wonderful and benevolent, gracious, loving God? Why is there pain? So either I'm not going to believe in God, or I am going to turn my back to God, because a God exists means that everything should just be better and happy all of the time. And that's just not the case, simply because we are human and we are imperfect, and I don't want to get too biblical, even though I am a Christian, and I am going to get biblical on this particular video. Let me just say that I am, because I am a Christian and I do have Christian faith. So if you go back to the Bible and the Book of Genesis, and when the fall of man happened and sin entered into the world, and long story made, or eternal story made short, I should say, or short as I can, is God always gave us a choice. He gave us a choice to do what we should do, or do which is his will, which is better for us, or to do what we want to do, which is more often than not something that's going to ultimately destroy us in some type of way. Now, God gives us choice. He doesn't manipulate us or force us or coerce us into these choices. It's ours for the choosing. However, the serpent or the evil one, the enemy of God, has to use every tactic he possibly can to deceive you into going against God, because he is against God. And so the more people against God he has, the better. That's what he wants. Now, bring this up to speed and correlate it to these particular films and the way that the film trajectory is currently going, is to create a world of people that are more and more disengaging from their faith, disengaging from God, and not just either disengaging if they have faith, or just completely not even choosing, God at all. Going through life believing that, God doesn't exist, the devil doesn't exist. This is all just fictitious thinking that it's only people, it's good or bad you choose, I don't need a God to be, moral and upstanding, tax-paying citizen, whatever the case may be. But your soul has a life once you leave here. Now, with this film, Disclosure Day, I was going to see it. Again, I'm coming out. I'm kind of coming out of the world because things are becoming so spiritually unattractive, and my eyes are becoming so open to where I just don't even enjoy it the way I used to, right? But I was going to go check out Disclosure Day. It's like, oh, it's an alien film. I love alien films. I loved War of the Worlds. I loved Predator, the actual alien movie, beginning with Sigourney Weaver. Like, I love these kind of movies. Give me a alien invasion, Independence Day. Let's just do it, But when the line from the trailer is that people are going to, question their Christianity or their faith, it's like, why always the attack on Jesus? Even if you don't believe, that to me would be enough to, out of all of the faiths in the world, why is it always attack on this guy, on this person that was just here to do some good and save some souls? Why is it always against him or about us? That to me is a huge red flag, And it's always going to destroy the Buddhist faith, oh my goodness, They probably wouldn't have that. Or, we can't see this because this movie's going to go again. This movie is going to totally offend the LGBTQ community. No, they wouldn't have that, right? But it's let's be sacrilegious against Christianity, and let's defame and or kill God is what the aim is. Now, when some of the films that I have posted here for you are the Wicked films, which I saw that. I was like, I'm not seeing that. There's Wicked and there's Wicked to Good. Then and let's just talk about that movie briefly for a point. Now, The Wicked and The Wicked for Good are films that, as I understand, were once plays. It's a spinoff from The Wizard of Oz, so it's kind of giving the witch's perspective of what's happened. And so you're probably questioning, well, what's the seed of deception here? Well, the seed of deception here is the acceptance of evil. Simply put, to be succinct. It's the seed of deception. It's accepting evil. So we know from the movie The Wizard of Oz that Dorothy was good and the evil witch of the West obviously was wicked, and she was cast out, and she was terrorizing the land of, I think the Land of Oz is actually the name. I was going to say The Wizard of Oz, but the Land of Oz. She was evil, So, but here comes along Wicked, and it's like, oh, well, let's see what really happened. Let's give her a chance. Let's hear her out, And that is what deception is. Because at the end of the day, what these films all parallel is good and bad, evil versus, high morale. It really is just God and his enemy. I don't like saying his name. It's God versus his enemy. But with the seed of deception, it's just little bitty nuggets of opening your mind up to maybe the bad person isn't that bad. Well, what happened? Well, why is that? Well, and this isn't to at all disparage a person who may have had a tough time and is coming around the way. No, I'm talking about God versus his enemy. That is specifically what I am talking about. Not to people that, again, have experienced challenges in their lives and, coming around to becoming, a better person. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about people who need an opportunity for redemption. I'm talking about absolute pure evil. And what these films are doing is making it permissible for you in your mind to open up to that possibility of, well, let's give God's enemy a chance because maybe we don't know the whole story. Let's get to know the whole story. Maybe it's the acceptance of evil. And for those that believe in the Holy Bible, who believe in the book of Revelation, who believe in those things that are to come to pass and the second coming of Jesus Christ, are or should be very well aware of that is exactly what is happening, and it's ushering you into the acceptance of the mark of the beast. Somebody may say, well, what's the mark of the beast? The mark of the beast is the branding of the number of the beast, which is the beast, the number of a man, 666. That's his number, his or her number, right? I can't remember if it's, well, it says him, it's the number of a man, the number 666. And in order to, according to the book of Revelation, according to buy, sell, or trade, you have to take this particular mark. It's the Antichrist, basically. So you have to take this mark to say that you're his, and that's how you're going to be able to live and make it physically in this earth when that time comes. And so little by little, it's conditioning your mind, a la COVID. It's conditioning your mind to be open to things that you might not ordinarily be open to. It's like, okay, I'll accept this. Okay, it's just that. Okay, it's no big deal. Okay, this is not that, It's getting you to fight away what you know to be true. It's getting you to fight away what you know to be true. The film on Netflix, The School of Good and Evil, another thing. It's right there in your face. And I look at these films now, and especially the ones that are geared towards children, which is every Disney movie, right? And there's a common theme. There's a common thread. It's an underlying common thread. And if you're a parent, you should be, or even if you're not a parent, because I'm not a parent yet, right? But if you are a parent, or you're going to become a parent, or if you're around kids, nieces, nephews, whomever, the common theme or the common thread in all of these films is about rebellion. Kids rebelling against their parents in some way, shape, or form. Now, I grew up, I'm an 80s baby. The Little Mermaid was my thing. I thought if I took a bath in salt water that I would grow fins. I mean, my brother said, hey, if you take a salt bath, if you soak in salt, you'll become a mermaid. I was like, really? He said, yeah, you'll definitely become a mermaid. And I soaked for hours. And in my mind, I could see little scales forming. That's how ditzy I was, right? I was a kid. But nonetheless, that movie is about what? The little girl no longer wanting to be who she was, no longer wanting to be a part of her family unit, rebelling against her father's will. Here goes that father and that will thing again, so that she can go on land, be a human, and, marry this guy, right? Father, dads don't know everything, However, in the film, she goes ahead, she, rebels against her father, and the evil one, I don't remember her. God, my mind is totally slipped today. But here's the evil one. Oh, I hear that you want to, walk on land. You want to have legs. I can give you that. All you need to do is give me your voice. The gift that you have. Give me your gift and I'll give you this thing. And everything will be totally fine. And we see the consequences that happen because of that. But there's that rebellious theme. So when you're allowing your children or children in your life, or you're wondering what's going on with today's youth, to watch these type of films, again, that common theme is rebellion. What happens? Then they become rebellious towards you. You don't know what's going on. I'm raising my kids right, or what is going on with today's generation, or what have you. But there is that rebellious theme. Or in a lot of these films, and with that rebellion comes lies and manipulation, right? Because when you're being rebellious, you're not being truthful. I mean, obviously the adults in your life are going to know something's up, something's going wrong, or something's going on at least. So you're, being deceitful, and no good comes out of that. But this is where it stems from. So even if you are being a wonderful, upstanding parent or aunt, grandparent, uncle, friend, what have you, this is where that comes from. And again, we know that this started in the Garden of Eden because of what the serpent told Eve. Hey, I know God said you can't eat of this tree, but you can eat of that tree. You're not going to die. I mean, I know he said it, but you're not going to die. And we know we experience that death, that spiritual death, that physical separation from God. And that's where it stems. And so me choosing not to see Disclosure Day is based upon that. Not because I think that my faith is going to be shaken. No. Not because I think that there's going to be a seed planted in my brain. I know that it's going to be there. I know what to look for. Even in me just watching it for entertainment purposes, I also know that it's not entertainment purposes for the people that are making these types of films, for the lines, for the scripts that they're using. But because that was said, because because in the movie, I believe it's Spielberg that says, this is going to shake people's faith, or people's, Christian faith or what have you, whatever the line is in the trailer. That right there let me know that I'm not even going to spend my money. Because why are you attacking Christian faith? That's deliberate. That's intentional. And at the end of the day, it's like what Cat Williams said. It's God's side and the other side, and we don't care anything about the other side. And that's where I'm at. I grew up in the Christian church. I actually grew up Pentecostal. And have always, even though I haven't been perfect, I will be very honest about that. I've not been perfect my entire life. I've always had my upbringing or my training and my belief in God in the back of my mind and in my heart, which never allowed me to stray, and that's the Holy Spirit as well, never allowed me to stray too far down any path. Because there was a point in my mid-20s to, I think like mid-20s or definitely mid-20s, early 30s, where I was kind of getting into the new age stuff. Incidentally, just because I loved Oprah, I watched Oprah, and here comes Eckhart Tolle with his book, The New Earth, and all, and that's when she was really ushering in that new age stuff, right? And I'm just thinking it's like positive thinking. It's just all good stuff. And, The Secret and the law of attraction and manifestation. I'm like, oh yeah, it's just being positive. It's just being very positive and understanding about positivity, But in reality, what it is teaching you to look in yourself for everything. The light and the positivity they're talking about, everything is self. It's not God. It's the universe, thoughts become energy, thoughts of frequency, but the Bible tells you that as a man thinks, so he is. But this is just talking about a light. Even though there's a film with Katie Holmes, and I think it's called The Secret, Dare to Dream. Came out in 2020, I want to say. And upon first glance, very good, positive film. Don't be down in the dumps about what you're going through. But again, it's not leading. It's positive in the way of, okay, no one's getting shot, no one's sleeping with somebody's husband, no one's using profanity all over the place. Some movies I can't even watch. Some shows I can't even watch because it's so much profanity. It's just like, is there not another word that you can use? It's not that it's those things. So it's like, okay, I can put this on, but it's not leading you to Jesus Christ as your source. It's leading you to, positive thinking in the atmosphere. Let me be very clear. If it's not leading you to Jesus Christ, where is it leading you? If it's not leading you to stronger faith in Him, what are you having faith in? This is a lot of the reason, and actually this is all the reason, why so many, and I'm not saying that mental illnesses and things like that don't exist, because they do, but a lot of it is because you're separating yourself from God. All this self-love and self-reflection and self-care and self, and yet, you're forgetting that you are not meant to be on this. If you were meant to be on the planet by yourself, solely by yourself, you would be on a planet by yourself. But you're not on a planet by yourself. You're on a planet with billions of people. You're created by God. You're supposed to connect. You are supposed to connect. Let me let that sink in. You are supposed to connect. Your divine connection to God is your branch, your root up. And then you branch out and you connect and you touch people. Appropriately, respectfully, not lustfully, not harmfully, not maliciously. That is how you bridge and become better. And yes, there are people that you don't need to connect with at that particular time in terms of death, because maybe they're going through things that you can't manage, but you can tell them about Christ and go on about your way. And it may not be meant for you to tell them about Christ at that moment. Some people, you just say an internal prayer and you go on. Okay? But my message here today is not about how to be a Christian walking in the world, as it is about be very mindful and conscious about the films that you're watching, the dialogue that's being had, the symbolism behind the meanings. Because a lot of these films, and if you're a Christian, and I think I've said it so many times on this channel, I never mean to surprise anybody who thinks that because I talk about other topics that I'm not, quote unquote, a Christian faith channel. I am a Christian person that has faith. And the day by day, I'm just really choosing, every day, really choosing God, like every day, consciously choosing God. Because I'm realizing just how evil everything is. How sick everything is. A lot of films now, segue here. A lot of films now are talking about, or the plot is rooted in like a single parent. Like there's a movie on Netflix with Kevin Hart, and he unfortunately becomes a single father. His wife passes away in childbirth. He becomes a single father. There's a movie that's been on different streaming platforms with Gerard Butler called Geostorm. And he's a single dad in that movie as well. Then, of course, the ending of Love and Thunder. Thor takes on the evil guy's daughter. He passes away, and so he takes his daughter. And there are other films as well. But specifically, and even in, one of the Transformers, I think Age of Extinction is when Mark Wahlberg enters into the franchise, and he's a single dad. And it's nothing wrong with acknowledging the fact that life happens and sometimes a person, man or woman, becomes a single parent. That does happen, People pass away, people divorce, or people sometimes, unfortunately, aren't good or aren't fit parents. And so somebody's left, not left, but someone steps up to become the responsible parent and does as they should by their kid, okay, or children. However, the dialogue that is had in these particular films, and even, well, less of Love and Thunder, but definitely in Geostorm, definitely in Transformers and other films, the dialogue is very weird to be a father and daughter. Now, there's been conversations about how mamas, single mamas and their sons, and it's always some kind of weird stuff going on, not incestuously, right? Always that we know of, correct? But just the weird hold that the mom has on the son if she's single and she's not married or not dating. It almost like the son becomes a husband in a way, right? He becomes the man in the house. And anywho, that is translating onto film. Now, me in my mind where I'm at now, in understanding that there are people that are trying to incorporate legislation to include pedophilia as I'm not even sure if I can say that on YouTube, as a sexual preference. So we know how Hollywood mimics real life. I don't even say life imitates art. Art imitates life. How they parallel each other and kind of start getting you conditioning and used to seeing certain things. I'm looking at the films now like, okay, now they're trying to get us to see it totally normal for an older guy to be with, a young kid. Like, it's totally normal. You see it so much now, it's totally normal. And again, single parenthood does happen, sometimes by choice, sometimes not by choice. Things happen. But I do understand how Hollywood works and how they usher in things to start getting you really comfortable with seeing things. And next thing you know, this is the norm. So that's something to be mindful of and just aware. But am I going to go check this film out? No. Was I? I was going to go check it out. Like, oh, an alien film. Oh, Steven Spielberg. Oh, he's great. He did Jurassic Park. I love Jurassic Park. You know what I mean? But just having that line being in the trailer totally turned me off to it. I wanted to see Masters of the Universe. Again, I love a good hero flick. But where I am at now, even just the Masters of the Universe terminology, it's just deterring me. And seeing the evil Skeletor, and it's just like, I don't even speak the enemy's name. I don't like to speak the enemy of God's name. I mean the God's names. The enemy of God. I don't speak his name. I'm getting tongue twisted. I don't like to say the name. I don't give any glory, any honor, any acknowledgement to that end, except for to rebuke it when I need to. Okay. Other than that, I don't spend my time talking about it, and so I don't want to go to a film and watch it on my screen. So I'm just consciously choosing every day and accepting the fact that I am becoming a different kind of Christian. I'm not just becoming a Christian that wears a cute t-shirt and knows that I shouldn't hurt people and, not to sleep around, like the basic stuff, right? It's having a deeper meaning for me. A more real and very present meaning for me. So, and I hope that for all of you as well. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't. For those who have a great day.